Greetings, welcome to Killco Audio Musings, for patrons or anyone else who happens to come across this. My name is Brian. It is October 11th, 2023. I have returned from my adventures in Texas as of yesterday. Everything went smoothly. The trip there and back are usually the parts that stress me out. They went relatively fine. The trip back had a little delay, but I usually don't get too many delays, so it's not a big deal. One thing I did in the airport that was much better for me personally was to ask for pre-boarding due to my mental health issues. Being in a large crowd and close to too many people, put in that little damn funnel to lead into the airport with 100 plus people is not the best for me. And while I have usually just suffered through it, I finally was able to work up the nerve to go talk to the desk and be like, hey, I kind of need to pre-board. I'm not good with crowds or just being in the airport. And thankfully there wasn't a problem. They just gave me a new pass and I was able to board right after those in the wheelchairs. And I just managed to sit down, and it was actually one of the best decisions I've made. I am going to look into how I can get pre-boarding to be the default so I don't have to go up and tell the people at the desk every time. But I'm not going to be traveling by air for a while, so it's not a big deal. The Bastards Ball was quite enjoyable. Hard for me to tell with my mental health problems because for the Bastards Ball itself, I really did not participate very much. I'm kicking myself because I should have just gone up to the booths before everyone was allowed into the event to try a few things. Since as soon as all those people came in and started going right towards the tables, I knew I was not going to go in there. It was just far too many people all at once, and I didn't want to deal with it. Simple as that. I didn't want to be around all those people, and I decided against going in at all. I spent some time puttering around, a lot of time walking. I was really anxious, so I did a lot of walking with a heavy backpack around the campus. What I did find I enjoyed the most, unsurprisingly, was when they put me in the Wizard's Tower for my volunteer hours. I don't know how many of you have ever been to the Wizard Academy Tower, but I spent the 2 hours in the basement where there is a lot of artwork and there is a section that's gated off for the number of very expensive types of wine that are down there. There are also a lot of pictures of Don Quixote, which the person who owns the property is very fond of, so I felt quite at home with all the mustaches in that area. I have a feeling they put me down there for a specific reason. Or at least that's what I like to tell myself. What I liked about it was simply the peace and quiet and air conditioning about being down there. I spent 2 hours, just watching a few people come through every once in a while for a tour. I didn't really have to talk and have to say much of anything, really. I was mostly just there to make sure no one, wandered off or touched something they shouldn't or tried to take anything, which no one did, of course. I was happy to guide a few people towards the elevator, since at least on 2 occasions they didn't quite realize they had them, and I was glad to point people towards the elevator, since the stairs in the tower are intense, and even I don't like them. It's a very wide staircase, and I think only one side has a handrail, which bothers the hell out of me. I can easily see myself flying down those stairs. So I was very fortunate to actually be down there and just take a break and be away from everyone and everything for a couple hours. Other highlights of the trip were mostly food-based. I did a lot of eating. My hotel was really nice. There was a whirlpool type thing, hot tub, I don't know what to call it. But I used that a couple times. It was nice. It was a little weird because it was in the same room as the bed, but for the most part, just neat. Neat to have that option, neat to just soak and relax a bit. A very special highlight for me was, since I am an alumni of the Tower / Wizard Academy Whiskey Sommelier, I did know where Engelbrecht was. It's where I stayed when I had actually done my Somm 1 and Somm 2 classes. And I was able to go down there during a very special Patreon event for the Whiskey Tribe. Their top tier patrons got a private tasting social event, I'm not even sure what to call it, at Engelbrecht. So Daniel, Rex, and Brianna were there for a couple hours, drinking with some of the big buck people who are supporting the channel. I have no idea what the tiers were, how much it was to actually be there, but I imagine it was a large sum. And I just, wandered in. I did say to David, who is the person who's usually in charge of stuff at the tower, at least the person I am in contact with, to, ask to go up to the tower and go into the vault, that sort of thing. If they needed any help with that, glassware, whatever. I don't think they really did, so I think it was a party crasher of sorts, but no one seemed to care. Like, Daniel said directly to me he was glad I was there. I was like, good, thank you. I don't know how to take that, but yeah, I'm glad to be here too. I was feeling pretty drained by then. I think I had also, was it that same day? Oh God, yeah, I think the same day I had been at Andalusia talking with Ty and Moose and Cliff and Irene, who are other whiskey somms. Irene Tan, specifically, was there to look over at her barrel. And some serendipitous stuff happened, and there's going to be some barrel switchingness. Whiskey is going to be transplanted from one barrel to another, and it happened only because Irene met another group of people who had a barrel there who were tasting theirs. And when she mixed both of the whiskeys together, because we got to try theirs too, it seemed to, a little light bulb went off with both of them, which was cool. That's like a once in a blue moon. I only think of the beer when I say that. It was a rare occurrence, and I was glad to have been in the vicinity, really. My social meter was already low then. So it was the same day. I'd had whiskey at Andalusia, and then I'd had whiskey at Englebrick. Only a little bit, though. Like I said, my social meter was low, and I was pretty much staying away from people, like having a entire kitchen area in between me and everyone else in the room. And I ended up just doing what I usually do when I get kind of like that, is just make myself useful or just do something to get my mind off how I'm feeling. So I just ended up emptying the dishwasher because it was something to do. I did have some interesting whiskeys while I was in there. It was nice to chat with some of the top-tier patrons of theirs. I didn't get any names. I'm really bad with names, as some of you may realize. So I always feel bad when I don't get names. But in general, it was just pleasant to be in good company. On to the big news. YouTube finally partially monetized me. I don't exactly know how this new monetization of theirs work, but since we hit the watch hours and the subscribers, I can now get super chats via their YouTube channel, which is both good and bad. It's good because it gives people a convenient and quick way to participate and donate to the channel. The bad thing is, of course, YouTube gets their little cut, and I will still, of course, have Venmo and PayPal up as options, since other than the rabbit, there are no cuts for the direct payments of PayPal and Venmo. So big news, the problem is, of course, as always, my mental health stuff really just kind of messes with how I feel, and I spend a great deal of energy/control trying to mitigate my mood. And because I've been doing that for so long, so much of my life, and I think just because of the depression part of all of it, I don't feel like happy. I know this is a really big deal, and it just doesn't land right. It just kind of falls flat as far as emotionally. I'm glad it happened. I know that much. But it's always the same, where I know there should be bigger feelings about this, and I just don't get to have them, and it's frustrating. Since whenever I tell people around me all this, they're very excited. They're excited for me. And in that sense, I'm content with it, but it feels like I miss something. I miss out on something, which is incredibly frustrating overall. But I just I keep plunging ahead. That's all I ever really do. Hit one goal and then just keep marching forward to the next one, which is of course just 1,000 subscribers. And I think it gives you some more options, like ad revenue. That would be cool. That's the next step. Once I get to the ad revenue, I'll feel a little better, because there would be some, how do you put it, passive income? Is that what it's called? So just people watching my videos and ads running would net me something, anything. The money issues are, coming at me full force nowadays, because my parents are getting older, and, they're both dealing with cancer in some way, shape, or form now. My dad's, business with recording audiobooks and such, since he can't record anymore, generally speaking, the royalties are just going to keep going down. Which blows. I wish it wasn't like that, but it is. And the thoughts of trying to be self-reliant, so my parents don't have to support me in the way they do, would be great. And I am very thankful that this has happened, the monetization is one step in the right direction in that ever occurring. Because I am still in the part of my mind that someday everything is going to fall apart in my life. My parents are going to be gone, and I'm going to be borderline destitute, since the only thing I get as income, other than the generosity from all of you, I never forget that, is that Social Security, Social Security disability, and that just covers the rent. That's about it. Thus, I need to push my Patreon a little more and push for the 1,000 subscribers so I can get more monetization, more money, etc. With that pointed out, though, November is fast approaching, and as some of you may be aware, it's Pancreatic Cancer Month, or Awareness Month. Oof, that sounded awful. Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month, and last year, when I found out my father had pancreatic cancer, I did an event to help raise money to just not really support them, but help them with the bullshit that goes along with that kind of thing. Like just getting to and from Boston, which is where it is intense. They have to drive there. It's wear and tear on the car. It's gasoline. They rent rooms so they don't have to get up really early, so they can just wake up and be there. That costs money, of course. So there is a financial sinkhole in that. It's one of those little invisible problems that shows up just from trying to fight the cancer, is all the money that goes into, other than medical. Thankfully, they've been covered for all of that. But the other expenses. And really, in the back of my mind, one, it is to help them with that. That's the first part. I am doing it to help them with those financial problems. But the other thing is, they have supported me for so long, for my entire life, much longer than they should have needed to, due to my mental health problems. And it's my little way of trying to give back even the tiniest fraction of the support they've given me. We surpassed the goal I had last year, and while I do not expect to do that again, I'm just happy to get anything from it, really. And I'm, more importantly, other than all the support I get from that and all the money that I'm able to send my parents' way, I do get to share whiskey. And that's really the fun part about everything in this community, is that we are able to do so much good by sharing what we have with others who are also trying to do good and just enjoy this hobby / business? I'm not even sure what to call what I do. To support each other's endeavors and to just share the wealth. Not only financially speaking, but also by the insane amount of whiskey that is out there in this community. Because if you just think about it for a few seconds, like I am doing right now, the community of whiskey folk all over the globe surpasses any place else, as far as, if you go to a whiskey bar or a whiskey vault even, the variety that all of us have that we can share with each other is kind of awe-inspiring. It's hard to believe that it's come to this and that we're able to share so much with so many and also do so much good. As the vlog brothers would say, we are just trying to decrease world suck as best we can. And in this regard, I am trying to reduce the suck that happens, that has happened with my family with these cancer diagnoses, and of course trying to do what little I can to alleviate my parents' financial woes. There are other things I'm thinking about in the future that are financial, and really I hate always talking about money, but thus is life. When you live the life I have, finances are always a thing, and of course any kind of travel trips like I just went on, you remind me of what I wish I could do. I feel so much better when I'm on the move sometimes. And I certainly don't want to do what I did for the trip, which is basically to have meals out somewhere every day. But it was nice to just be able to do that. If I wanted to eat somewhere, I looked it up and just went there and had a lovely time. Enjoyed some really good food while I was there. My Instagram will tell you all about that because I posted way too many pictures today because I had a backlog. But people love seeing my food pictures and love seeing where I've been and love kind of the little blips I do, or at least I hope they love, at least they enjoy. At least they read the stuff I painstakingly tried to type into Instagram with my phone because, it would just be too easy to do on my computer, so I have to type everything in via my phone. I'll be working on the 4th video for this month soon, possibly tomorrow. I haven't quite decided. I'll be seeing my chiropractor for the last time tomorrow because they're disbanding that office, which sucks for her and sucks for me. But I do have a new chiropractic place in mind. Hopefully, if they actually take my insurance, that'd be ideal. Otherwise, no chiropractor. And that is, of course, why I have November on my mind, because I know I have to do the last video of this month and then try to figure out what kind of videos I'll be doing for next month, because right now, I do not know. I'll have to look at what I have on my shelf that I haven't done a review of, that I have an extra bottle of, because the idea is I will have, personally, at least a few bottles in this giveaway, probably 2 or 3, that I've just been holding on to or that have been donated to the channel or in advance just for this reason. Oh, and of course, before I forget, I actually do have a whiskey in my glass. It is Blanton's, of all things. The bottle that I have is absurdly low, to the point where I almost poured all of it in my glass, but that would have been close to 4 ounces, so I didn't. That would polish it off. And of course, once I saw it was that low, part of my brain was like, oh, but how are you going to get another one? And I'm like, shut up, brain. I don't need another Blanton's, but now that I've had 1 or 2, I have that itch. And even when I was down in Texas, I saw Blanton's on the shelf behind the bar, and I asked about the price, and the guy told me $20 for a pour, so I didn't get that. Apparently it had been $15 once upon a time, but even still, my limit is like $12 to $15, or less, of course, for a pour of Blanton's. But I think I will stop it there. I will enjoy this Blanton's and maybe play some games on my computer. I haven't done that in quite a while I've been away. So with that, as always, live long and prosper. Don't forget to be awesome, and I will see you out there.